Hello, today we are discussing travelling on an aeroplane with autistic children. So obviously I'm no expert, I just share what's worked for us to see if that can give anybody any ideas and tips of things to try. Freddie had his first flight just before his 3rd birthday, so we celebrated his 3rd birthday abroad. And he's 6, he'll be 7 in September. He's now done 10 flights in total. We always go to the same place on holiday. We go to Turkey and we fly from London, so it's 4 to 4.5 hours, depending on what way the wind's blowing. So yeah, it's always a sort of similar time when we fly. We are flying again in 39 days. And we've got it down to a T with him now, really. We know what we're doing, we've had plenty of practice, and it sort of runs like clockwork for us now. Like I said, every child's different. Your child will have different needs to mine, but there may be some bits and pieces that you can pick up, take what's helpful and what isn't, leave, and I'm sure there'll be other people giving advice as well, what works for them, and it's just about picking up those bits of information and tips from various people and sources that will work for you or that you could try. For us, preparation is key. Freddie's obviously used to flying now, so he knows the routine and what to expect. We still talk him through it all to make sure he knows what we're doing, where we're going. Sometimes we fly from Gatwick, sometimes we fly from Stansted, so the journeys are different. It takes longer to get to Stansted, and we obviously go through the Dartford Tunnel to get there. Stansted's a smaller airport, and we do various routes, so we always drive to the airport. Sometimes we use park and ride, sometimes we use valet parking, sometimes we just park in the airport, where you can walk round or get the little shuttle 5-minute bus round to the terminal. So we always just sort of explain to him what way we're going to be going. I've written a list of things that I think are important for you to consider. So when you're considering going abroad, you want to decide which airport you want to travel from. I prefer to go from Gatwick because it's closer, but obviously if Stansted's going to be a few £100 cheaper, we will go there instead. It's about weighing it up. I think the holiday we're going on next month, it was £100 dearer to go from Gatwick, and for us that was a no-brainer. Because the travel time was less. I think the parking worked out less as well, so it sort of weighed that up. So we paid the extra £100 to go from Gatwick. So it depends what you want. My suggestion is think about what airport would be easiest for you to travel to, and have that. If you've got a couple of options, that's great because it widens your search. But just have an airport or a couple of airports in mind that you would be willing to go from. And when you're searching for your holidays, I wouldn't even bother put that into your filters, so it only shows you those options of those airports that you're willing to go to. So once you've established what airport that you would like to fly from, it's best to check what facilities they have. Obviously some airports are bigger than others. We were a bit sceptical going to Stansted because we'd done Gatwick a few times. We were used to how Gatwick was and how it worked and the facilities there, but Stansted was fine. It was a fine experience, no complaints. Gatwick do have in their North Terminal a sensory room that you can book for an hour, but it's only open at certain times of the day. So we've never actually been in there, although we are aware of it. So if that's something that may benefit your child, to calm them down, regulate them, because there is a lot to consider when you are at the airport. Obviously it's how you're going to get there, going to check-in, checking your luggage in, then going through security. Yeah, there's a lot going on. So, and then once you get through security, it's quite busy with the shops and the restaurants and the seating, lots of people waiting around. It's worth considering whether you require a facility like a sensory room or a quiet area. You know, do the airport have a quiet seating area that you could go to, a special area for people with disabilities? So have a look on their website and it will tell you exactly what facilities they've got. Obviously we've already discussed how long it will take you to get there. That's one of the big factors in deciding which airport you're going from. But you also need to consider how you're going to get there. So obviously you can book a taxi, there's coaches, trains, buses, depending on how far from the airport you are. You've got on-site parking as well, or you've got airport parking that's like park and ride, that's 10-15 minutes away from the actual airport. We always drive our own car. We have done various ways of parking. So we've done on-site parking, where you park in the airport's car park and they have their own bus that takes you from their car park to the terminal. You need to know which terminal you are going to, so you know which bus to get on and where to get off. We've done the outside park and ride, so that's where it's a third party company that have got like a car park so far away from the airport, and then once you go in and park there, you get on their bus. They offer a shuttle service and it normally comes like every 10-15 minutes. And then that takes you and drops you off at the terminal, the same place that the actual airport shuttle would drop you off as well. The longest one we've done, it took 15 minutes on the bus from the car park to the airport, and that wasn't too bad. The only issue is when we travel, Freddie's always been in his buggy. He's got a special needs buggy. So I've been in charge of that, and then Rob's had to deal with the suitcases. So if it's just me, him and Freddie, we've got 3 big suitcases and then 2 hand luggage cases and then a little backpack. If Rob's girls come with us, we then have 5 big suitcases, and that's a lot of suitcases. I'd be in charge of Freddie and a couple of the hand luggage bags, and Rob would have the suitcases. We'd have to get Freddie onto the bus in his buggy, and there's obviously people just stood around with their suitcases, not putting them on the racks, that sort of thing. And Rob would have to get 5 suitcases on and off the bus, and that was really stressful. Like sometimes you got really nice people that would help him, other times there were just people that just, you know, were in the way and really ignorant. Not that, you know, you don't expect anyone to help you. It was lovely when people did help you, but people just being difficult on purpose. So we figured out quite quickly that that was very stressful. We then got a deal. We booked so far in advance once that it was cheaper to do on-site valet parking. So this is where you drive into the car park at the terminal, you drop your car off, you hand the key over, there's like a little reception booth thing, you hand your key over, they give you a ticket, and you literally cross the road into check-in in the terminal. You are right on the terminal. They then go and park your car, and then when you return from holiday, you go back to the reception area with your ticket, and your car, they give you your car key, and your car is parked in a bay nearby. So you literally get your bags, put them on your luggage trolley and just push it to your car. There's no faffing about with buses. So we got a cheap deal on that once. We did it once, and now Rob won't do it any other way. He's like, absolutely not. I'm not getting on and off a bus again. We will do valet parking, even if we have to pay more. But we do book our holidays quite far in advance, and as soon as we've booked the holiday, we book the parking, so we always get a really good deal on that. So that makes our life easier. This year we are not taking the buggy. Freddie's really big now. He's tall, and we're trying to get him to walk around more. He's a bit better with listening and understanding the dangers around him. So we're going to take a wrist strap, so he will be strapped to one of us, and we're not going to take the buggy. So that will be interesting, but I think it will be easier for us because he's got his little suitcase and he'll be able to wheel that around himself. He likes doing that. So yeah, I think that'll be interesting to see how we go. I'll do a little vlog when we do that. Right, so that's how you'll get there. Flight times. Now, we're not too fussed what time we fly. We've flown all different times. We've flown at 6 in the morning, so we've stayed in the hotel at the airport the night before because it was cheaper to do that. So that's another option, actually, just going back to how you'll get there. Sometimes if you book a hotel with parking, it's cheaper. So we did that once. We had a flight at 6 o'clock in the morning, and although we had to leave the hotel at 3 a.m, it worked out cheaper to buy the package of hotel and parking than it did just the parking. So we went up the night before and had a nice meal and had a bit of an adventure, so that was really nice. I think that might have been the first time we took him, actually. So that is another option. But flight times, like I said, we fly at all different times. We've flown at 6:30 in the morning, we've flown at lunchtime, we've flown at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we've flown at 6 o'clock in the evening, 9 o'clock at night, like all different times. I generally just pick what's the cheapest. If it's like a slight difference in price for a slightly better time, I will pay a little bit more, but I'm not going to pay hundreds more per person just for a different time flight. It doesn't really make any odds to us because we make it so that the actual experience of leaving the house and going to the airport is part of the holiday. We try and make it like this is where our holiday starts. Once you've checked in and those bags are dropped off, that's where our holiday begins, in that airport. Think about your luggage as well, how much luggage you need to take. So when we went away when did we go? We went away end of September for 3 weeks for our honeymoon. Obviously Freddie came with us, and we booked an extra suitcase, and that was mainly for his safe foods. Basically, we have to take Space Raiders and Blue Crisps with us, cheese and onion walkers. He eats them all the time, and if all else fails, that's what he'll eat and snack on, so we always have a stash of them. Freddie was in nappies until last August, so just before his 6th birthday, so we'd always have the suitcase and we'd have to have nappies in it. We'd have to take stuff like a paddling pool because he was terrified of showers, and our hotel only had showers. So we'd buy a paddling pool, just a little small one, take it with us, blow it up, put it in the bathroom on the floor, fill it up with the shower, and then he'd sit in that, and we'd take a little plastic cup with us and wash him with a flannel. So we had a little bath with him. What else would we take? All sorts of things that you wouldn't necessarily think of, like little cutlery we took with us. We take the Robinson's squeezy squash with us because he does drink water now, but not as much as he drinks blackcurrant, and they're so handy, them little squeezy squashes. They're about £2.50 each, and you get 20, it says you get 20 out of each bottle. Freddie's got quite a big juice cup that he takes around with him, and he guzzles juice like nobody's business. So I think we've got 8 to take with us this time, and that is for 2 weeks. And they do sell squash in resort. It's a bit more expensive, but obviously if we run out, we will just buy some squash out there. But they're so handy, and what we do is we take one in our hand luggage, so we can just buy a bottle of water. And in Turkey they don't do squash and fruit shoots and stuff like that, so literally when we're out and about, we buy him a bottle of water and we squeeze a bit of the blackcurrant squash into it, or we put it in his cup and squeeze it in. So that is a really good one if you need something like that. You can get all different flavours, he just prefers blackcurrant. So yeah, with your luggage you need to consider what exactly it is that you need to take with you. Do you need to book an extra suitcase, or do you need to book an extra few kilograms? Could you get away with taking less luggage and sharing suitcases? Hand luggage as well, consider if you all need to take a hand luggage. A lot of airlines now are charging you for cabin bags. You can take an under seat bag for free, but they're not, the dimensions are quite small. So cabin bags, a lot of companies you now have to pay extra to have a cabin bag. We've got an under seat bag, we've got an It Luggage one. I will get it and show you it. Brilliant investment. I think it cost me like 30 quid or something like that, and that is classed as an under seat bag, not cabin bag. And it's just a little, like a shoulder bag or carry case, and you can fit so much in it, and it's got all different compartments in it. It's brilliant. So we take that, and then Freddie's got his little cabin bag as well. Actually, I think his suitcase that we've bought him a new one this year. His old one was like a proper kiddies one with rainbows on. He's a bit too old for that now. So I bought him a It Luggage one, a dinosaur one, and it is actually under seat dimensions. So we haven't actually booked any big hand luggage, we've just got the under seat. So we'll take our black It Luggage, his little one, and then I'll have my handbag as well with all the passports and money and everything in. So you need to consider what it is that you're going to be taking, and do you need that extra luggage. Special assistance. We have always booked special assistance. With most airlines, when you book special assistance, you get allocated seats for free. So if you phone up and say, I want to book special assistance, they will book your seats there and then, usually up towards the front of the plane. I think like the first 5 rows you have to pay extra if you want to sit in those, but each airline's different, but that's sort of as standard and average. And then from then back, you can get that done for free. Some airlines will only allow the disabled person and one other, their carer, and everybody else has to pay. Some airlines allow the whole party. When we book our holidays, I tend to pay to book the seats as we're booking, so we know we've got seats together. And when you phone the airline to book the special assistance, they refund you that money, for those of you that can have the free seat booking through special assistance. So that's very handy to do. And with the special assistance as well, you don't need to go and sit and get wheeled around or anything like that. Obviously if you need that, then that is there for you and you use that. We book it so it flags up that Freddie requires special assistance. So as you're going through check-in and security and boarding, it will flag up that you've got special assistance. We wear the sunflower lanyards anyway. That is like a recognised thing in all airports. So if you haven't got a sunflower lanyard, get one each. You can pick them up at the airports for free. I did buy some online because we use them elsewhere as well. But normally at the special assistance desk, if you go up, they will give you a sunflower lanyard. Well, they used to. That's obviously check that because there may be a charge now, I don't know. In a lot of the airports there will be special assistance lanes. So lanes specifically for you if you've got special assistance or a lanyard to go through. So if you've got the lanyard on, the staff are aware that you need extra help or time or support, and they are all really, really good. And with special assistance as well, they will call you up for boarding first. So when you're in your little gate area waiting to board, they will call for special assistance. All special assistance passengers, please come up to the front and board first. You do have to be careful with that though, because sometimes we've found that because they've got people with special assistance who are in wheelchairs and need to be wheeled in by the ground crew, they just take them straight off and don't make an announcement. So the rest of you that have made your own way to the gate, that have got special assistance for other reasons, are sort of left behind. So we always make sure we're at the front by the desk, and whoever comes, it'll be, so like if it's an EasyJet flight, it's normally EasyJet ground crew, and it would be the same people that checked you in initially and took your bags and everything. We always just make ourselves known to them and say, we've got special assistance, can you make sure that we get on first? Some people like to wait till last. Obviously you're all getting on the same plane, you are all going to the same place. We like to get Freddie settled. Standing in that tunnel in the heat with loads of people and screaming kids isn't ideal. He gets really triggered by noises, screaming children, lots of different lights, sounds, smells. So we always get on first, and then that gives us an opportunity to sit down, get settled, take everything out of our bags that we need, get his iPad set up, get his headphones on, get out our sweets and snacks, and it normally works out quite well. By the time we've sort of done all of that, the last few people are boarding and we're getting ready to be pushed back. So, but some people do like waiting until the very last minute because then it's less time on the plane. So it just depends, that's personal preference. Priority boarding, so we've spoken a little bit about that. With special assistance you will get priority boarding. If you're in a big group and you want priority boarding for everyone, then you'd have to pay for that, but you're all going to the same place anyway, so I wouldn't bother. We went away last year and there were 23 of us, and it was the 5 of us, so me, Rob, Freddie and Rob's 2 daughters, in our party, and we all went up together for special assistance boarding. They let all 5 of us on, so, and everyone else just got on at their own leisure because they didn't require the special assistance. Fast track lanes, touched on that already. So when you're going to the airport, there will be fast track lanes. Gatwick are really good. They have special family lanes as well. I can't remember if Stansted had special family lanes. We've been there a couple of times now, but they've definitely got the sunflower lanes. So make use of those because they're less crowded. In some airports it's more like of a direct route through, and it's more confined, less overwhelming. Take your time. I know when you're going into the airport and there's huge queues and everyone's itching to get through security and you're all going through like cattle, you worry about, oh my god, I'm going to take too long. Don't worry about anybody else around you, okay? If you're taking your time with what you're doing, you need to take your time. They can go to the next lane, they can go around you. The staff of the security, I've always found them, the English side, to be really good, especially if you've got your lanyard. If you make it known they've got, you know, whatever it is. With Freddie we always say he's got additional needs, autistic. They can tell that straight away. Freddie, like you've seen, Freddie is very obviously autistic. And they're always really kind, calm, patient. You know, there's a lot going on. With the hand luggage, we take certain things with us, like we've got 2 iPads, I've got my vlogging stuff, we've got our phones, so there's lots of electricals going on. We have like medicine and stuff like that, so we always end up getting something searched, but they're always really lovely. A few times Freddie's, so in some of the airports now, when you go through security you have to stand in this scanning machine. It's like a big semicircle thing, and you get, and you have to put your arms and legs up, and Freddie struggled with that a couple of times. Last time he was much better. so it was sort of inconclusive, so they've had to do a pat down on him, but they were really good, you know, asked permission and made sure I was there with him. And he's got his special needs buggy, so they take that through and check all of that. So it can seem really daunting, but I'd just say don't worry about anyone else around you and what they're doing. You just get on with what you're doing and focus on yourself. And if anyone's got a problem with how long you're taking to do what you need to do, that's their problem, that's not your problem. Have your paperwork ready. So I'm old school, I like to print everything off. I always print off boarding passes, I have our insurance documents printed off, our ATOL certificates, everything like that. I've always been really paranoid about, I need everything, because if something goes wrong, I need to have it all in front of me. Actually, a couple of years ago, we flew back from Turkey. Our flight was cancelled, so we were all at the gate waiting to board, and then they cancelled the flight. It was midnight, and then they shipped us all off to these hotels in the middle of like proper backstreet Turkey. And we got into this hotel at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then we were picked up at like 12:30 and taken back to the airport, and then our flight left that night. And that was an EasyJet holiday, but I booked it through Love Holidays. I didn't need any paperwork. Like, there were some people that had got flight only, so they weren't ATOL and ABTA protected, so they had issues. But literally, like, I'd always say book a package for peace of mind, because you have got that protection. They literally just scooped us up and said, right, get on this bus, here's a room for the night. We did have to go and find a shop and buy some pull-ups and stuff because we were running out. But Freddie was fine, you know. I think that's something I've always been really worried about with an autistic child, is having a flight delayed and being shipped off to a hotel somewhere in the middle of the night, not knowing where you are, running out of supplies. But actually, it happened and it was fine. It wasn't ideal, but it was okay, you know. We had a sleep. We didn't have any clean clothes, so we were all stinking a bit. We had a little walk to the shop and got him his pull-ups, and the only downside was the night before we'd spent, Dalaman Airport's so expensive, but we always buy McDonald's for him, so we'd spent the money on the McDonald's the night before, and then when we went back the next day we had to do it again. I know some people won't do that, but I mean, we're on holiday, we always have a contingency fund anyway, so, you know, he wouldn't eat anything at breakfast at the hotel. It was proper Turkish, like there was nothing he would touch, and we couldn't find anything in the shop that he'd eat. We'd run out of all of his safety snacks and crisps, so yeah, as soon as we got back to Dalaman, we just took him straight to McDonald's, and bought him a meal, and he devoured that. And then we got on our plane, and when we landed to the other side, we took him to McDonald's again about 5 hours later. So yeah, that was okay, that was fine. I think that there was more of an issue with the dog, because I phoned the kennels and said we've been stranded, and they were like, I don't know if we've got space. And well, I was all tough because there's no one to pick him up. That's why he's in a kennel. Like, I'm thousands of miles away. But yeah, they kept him there anyway. And with if you're doing airport parking or the park and ride or anything like that, you can pay an extra couple of quid and get like a 24-hour insurance policy. So if your flight is delayed, they don't charge you, you know, for the extra day at extortionate rates. It's all covered, so we didn't have to pay anything additional for that either. So when it does go wrong, it's manageable, it's fine. We did it, slightly stressful, it was very hot, there was a huge heat wave in Turkey that year. It was in June and it was like 43 degrees, but we had a lovely time. It was a little adventure, and we know now if anything did go wrong in the future, it's manageable. Sorry, I sort of saying have your paperwork ready, even though I didn't need any of it for when that happened. Sorry, my ADHD brain, I digressed into something completely different there. but I always like to have, especially your boarding passes printed off, because you're going in and out and back and forth. And if I've got them all on my phone, it's just a bit of a pain, because Rob is so, you see these memes, I sent him one on Facebook the other day, and it was the wife and the husband going on holiday together, and the husband literally just turns up and he's following the wife around with his suitcase and he's doing everything he's told. He doesn't know where he's going, he doesn't know where his passport is, he hasn't got any tickets, he doesn't know what their plan is, like are they eating at the airport, like the wife knows everything and she is just guiding him and he's just following around and like, yeah. And I sent it to Rob and he said, oh, that's me. So that's a bit of a running joke with us, because basically I book everything, organise anything, he gives me money and then turns up. And even sometimes I'm saying to him, he's got much better now at using his calendar on his phone, because the first few times he's like, oh, I'm going to book this in for this day, because he works for himself. And I'm like, hello, we're not going to be here, we're going on holiday. So he's got a diary and a calendar now, so he has put his holiday dates in there. So yeah, and when you do have your paperwork, like I always make sure I've printed off my insurance documents, because you never know, like if you lose your phone or your email stop working or something like that, and you can't remember who you've booked your insurance through, your travel insurance, I always print mine off and then I just fold it up, put it in the bag at the back, and it's there then if I need it, with all of the phone numbers and the policy details and everything on it. I've never needed it, thank God, but it's just preparing those little things. If anything did happen, it'd take all of that stress out. Plan what you're going to do at the airport. So depending on what time you get to the airport, different things are going to be open. You know, there's certain shops and restaurants that have different opening times. So when we fly in a few weeks, I think our flight's at like 8 o'clock. Our flight's at like 8 p.m. Is it at 8 p.m? 6 p.m? Something like that. Anyway, we're going to get to the airport in the afternoon and we will have dinner in the airport. So we know what restaurants and stuff there are at the airport. We'll probably just go to Wetherspoons. But like when we went to Stansted and we'd never been there before, we just went on and checked what restaurants have they got at the airport, what times are they open, and we check the menus as well to see if there's something Freddie will eat. So always be prepared with that. And there's always like a Boots or WH Smiths that sell the meal deals as well. And then some flights you can get food on. So one year when we went with Jet2, we had a late flight, I think it was like 7 o'clock in the evening, and we actually booked food for the kids. They had like chicken nuggets and chips or whatever, and that come out halfway through, and that actually breaks the flight up as well. And I know we've flown EasyJet and Sun Express, and they do food that, you know, they have the little menus, more so EasyJet, they do a much better selection. So you know, you can always get something on the plane. They're not guaranteed to have everything in though. So this is why we always like to go early. We like to get to the airport 3 hours before we fly, so we can get checked in, do it at a leisurely pace, so we're not rushing around, you know, toilet breaks, stuff like that, big queues. And then we go and we'll have a drink and something to eat, and we're not rushing to do that either. It's nice, chilled. You're not worrying about, oh my God, you know, I've got to eat this quickly because I need to go and get to my plane. We always make sure we've got plenty of time. And I always do a little bit of duty-free shopping as well. I always buy new perfume, that's my tradition. When I go on holiday, I have to buy new perfume in the duty-free lounge. And then by the time we've done all of that, eaten, had a wander around, got some perfume, gone and got some bottles of drink to take on the plane with us, gone to the toilet, our gate's ready and it's time to go down to the gate and wait for boarding. So that, for us, that works really well. We've sort of got a nice flow going on. Slash plan what you'll do at the airport, and like I said, with Gatwick they've got that sensory lounge as well, so if that's something you want to use, you pre-book it and then factor that into the time at the airport as well.